Welcome to SVGTV News for Friday, May 17, 2019. I am Yvesta Boynes with the details. Island states seem to be losing the battle against global warming as climate change effects are rapidly increasing. This is according to Minister of Finance and Sustainable Development Camilo Gonzalez, who painted a bleak picture for SVG and other small island states to combat climate change and its impacts. At the opening of the climate change financing meeting held here earlier this week, Minister Gonzalez pointed out that Caribbean countries are the least that contribute to global warming, but yet they are some of the most affected.
You're talking about a real cataclysmic situation. You're talking about entire islands disappearing. Not St. Vincent, because we're pretty mountainous, but the beaches that are already disappearing will be gone. The mapping shows that swaths of islands in the Bahamas will disappear. The mapping shows that we are St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is a series of small islands off this main island, that many of those Grenadines will disappear. It shows that agriculture, mainstay of many islands, will be disastrously affected. It shows that infrastructure, public infrastructure, will be disastrously affected. Most of our airports, which are located on the coast, will be underwater, and lives and livelihoods as we know it at 4 degrees, the Caribbean isn't the Caribbean anymore.
Minister Gonzalez highlighted the effects of climate change in SVG and the difficulty in accessing funds as damage cost increases every year. He urged all Caribbean countries to take a stand and push to have better financing for the adaptation and mitigation of climate change.
Talk about the specificities of island states and the fact that however rich the Bahamas is versus Dominica, or however rich Barbados is versus St. Vincent and the Grenadines, or however rich country X is versus country Y, that has absolutely nothing to do with the risks that these countries face when we are affected by climate change. We have to have that conversation, and we have to, in sharing our experiences, understand that we are in this together.
SVG has initiated several programs to deal with climate change, including the cleaning of rivers and beaches, as well as having a contingency fund in place in the case of any climate change related damage. There was a lot of back and forth in Parliament today as both sides of the House stood their ground for an amendment to a motion on electoral reform. When the House convened this morning, the government side sought to amend the private member's motion on electoral reform tabled by opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday. This is what sparked the debate over the rules governing amendments. Before the lunch period, there were 2 separate breaks as the Speaker of the House, Jomo Thomas, tried without success to garner consensus on the issue from both sides. The government bench stood firm as members argued that their amendment is backed by the rules of the House.
Can we listen to what it says? Object of an amendment and effect on debate, page 406. The object of an amendment may be either to modify a question in such a way as to increase its acceptability or to present to the House a different proposition. I repeat that. To present to the House a different proposition as an alternative to the original question. It goes on to say, amendment superseding a question, the latter purpose may be affected by moving to omit all or most of the words of the previous question after the first word that, and to substitute an alternative proposition which must, however, be relevant to the subject of the question, both matters being under the consideration of the House as alternative propositions. It is quite clear in asking me. That's why I say little learning is a dangerous thing.
Why do it?
But what will matter, Mr. Speaker, is what is voted upon and what text becomes the record of the consensus or decision of the House. And what we do not want to have is an election gimmick.
But this claim we're not going to have consensus.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we are at the beginning of the process. There other amendments may be offered that are taken in good faith and agreed to from both sides, Mr. Speaker. So I don't think you should prejudge this. So what I'm saying is that in the interest of consensus and in the interest of a mature democratic process, the Speaker has to allow amendments, whether they are fundamental, whether they are large or small, in order that the reflection of the will of the House is represented at the end of the day. And I think that that is what this amendment seeks to do, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, I indicated the four bases upon which I proceeded with this motion, the way it connects, the way this amended motion connects to the motion. If you wish me to reiterate them, I did so. What 28 says with clarity, 28.4 says with clarity, is that so long as it does not materially alter any principle embodied in the original motion or the scope thereof.
Prime Minister, let me ask you this final question before we vote on it. What violence you think, excuse me, Honorable Senator, what violence you think would be done to the parliamentary practice or to the rules of this House if we were to allow a debate on the motion?
What you will do, Mr. Speaker, is to take away my right as a representative of the people of North Central Windward to bring an amendment.
Very well.
You will take away my right.
Very well.
Those on the opposition bench were also not shaken as they voiced strongly their reservation against the amendments.
Where, as the mayor of the motion on constitutional reform, on electoral reform, I will be asked to essentially, I will be moved to vote against a motion that still stands in my name because it's not an emotion. It's an amendment to my motion, and I have to now vote against my motion. How stupid that is. That makes sense? Once the amendment is passed, it's still the private member's motion you have amended because you haven't brought your own motion. That is why I said, Mr. Speaker, Oscar May says that the proper thing to do, if you are going to go contrary, although the rules permit you to change every word in an amendment, it says the proper thing to do is by voting against the motion rather than seeking to amend it. That is what they could have done. And they had all the time to bring a motion of their own.
A private member's bill is not necessarily an opposition bill.
Mr. Speaker, my interpretation of the founding fathers' intent is for members of the opposition. Who wants to...
If that was the intent, they would have said that.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we know a lot of things were said in different ways. Because at the time, clearly they intended to be dealing with gentlemen and people who respect the rule of law and order and who understood what democracy is about. It was intended to be interpreted by people who are fair-minded. But the clear intent was for members of the opposition once in the year to bring a motion. In every instance since I'm here, we have been prevented from so doing, exercising the franchise given by the people to come here and make their case. In the instant matter, Mr. Speaker, it speaks to nothing more fundamental than our rights and freedoms in a fair electoral system.
With the deepest of respect, I think you're mixing apples and oranges.
It is not at all, Mr. Speaker. It means that we will never, ever, once they remain over there, with their sorts of way of stifling us on this side, we will never, ever be able to bring a motion.
And with your help.
And I'm saying you had a chance to correct the grave error that was made when you prevented us from debating our no confidence motion. And somehow, Mr. Speaker, you allow the shenanigans, as I call it, to override your better judgment because you said quite clearly that you cannot see how
Mr. Speaker,
I am speaking. You cannot.
I would like to refer the
SVG Air has denied reports that it is considering pulling out of Grenada. The carrier currently operates flights between SVG, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, Grenada and Carriacou. It discontinued flights to St. Lucia from April 30th. The company's managing director, Paul Gravel, told the Grenada Broadcasting Television Network, GBN, that though the airline has been plagued with financial challenges, they are not considering pulling out of Grenada.
We're not pulling out. The issue has been losing money for 20 years, and we've been appealing to past governments that we need help, we needed to raise the fares, that we needed some taxes reduced in order to try and keep the fares down. That the Islander, which is made in England, the company in England is in trouble, and if the company goes out of business, we won't be allowed to fly that aircraft, because if an aircraft is not supported by a company that's in business, it cannot be used in a commercial service. And we have 7 of these 19-seat Twin Otters. That is what we really should be using for the Grenada service, but the way it's currently structured, there's no way we can use the 19-seaters in Grenada because the fare's too low and the taxes interregionally are too high for us to work with the current situation.
He says, meanwhile, SVG Air will remain in the skies.
At the moment, we're still going to continue to fly. We have 4 of those 9-seaters, the Britain-Norman Islanders, and we're continuing to provide the service with those for the moment.
MP for Carrico and PT Martinic Affairs, Kendra Mathurin Stewart says meetings were held on Tuesday with the manager, and they are now working on a solution to have the airline remain in Grenada despite the challenges.
I met with Mr. Gavel and the manager, Mr. Lendo, at my office at Legal Affairs, and we discussed these issues. Now, there are 2 things that are on the table. The request for a waiver of taxes for persons traveling between Union Island, from Grenada to Union Island, and secondly, the issue of subsidies to ensure that the 19-seater, if they decide to use it here, would be viable options. Those options we will be discussing with the government, the entire government, and it's something that I intend to raise and to bring in Cabinet for deliberations and for the way forward.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines Teachers Union is introducing a medical insurance for all of its members. To make this possible, the union has partnered with Adams Insurance Broker, who thought that a medical plan would be beneficial for all teachers. Speaking on the SVGTU program aired on SVG-TV last evening, Executive Chairman of Adams Insurance Broker Roy Ron Adams said that the medical plan that was selected is specially crafted for teachers.
To the establishment of the plan. Some of the challenges that the union were trying to address included provided death benefit or also medical support to its members, members who are probably chronically ill, and reach out to the union for some sort of assistance. So this plan actually provide the union with a comprehensive solution to some of those problems that they were trying to face, and while utilizing their financial resource. So we've designed the plan in such a way that it has medical coverage, and it has also a life rider to it. Now, the medical coverage is structured in a way that it encompasses a lot of the major medical expenses that people are concerned about, especially those to do with non-communicable diseases.
The 40th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the Republic of Korea and St. Vincent and the Grenadines will be celebrated this Saturday with a cultural event dubbed Soul Beat Korea. The event, scheduled to take place at the SVG Community College Auditorium from 6:30 p.m. on Saturday, will be hosted by the Embassy of the Republic of Korea to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Commerce, and the Ministry of Tourism, Sports and Culture. The Korean cultural entertainment package will be blended with Korea's traditional and contemporary dances, songs, plays, and various cultural instruments such as the string quartet and bamboo musical instruments. Ambassador of the Republic of Korea, His Excellency Song Moon-up, will join the celebrations along with other eminent members of the diplomatic corps and officials. As SVG joined the rest of the world today in observing World Hypertension Day, The issues of awareness and knowing one's status was highlighted at a mini health fair hosted at the Division of Nursing Education at Lago Heights. At the exhibition organized by the Health Promotion Club of the Nursing Education Division of the SVG Community College, a number of persons were tested and informed of healthy habits. Larissa Pugsley tells us more in this report.
Tests for blood pressure, blood glucose and weight checks were conducted today at a mini exhibition hosted by the Health Promotion Club of the Division of Nursing Education, SVG Community College, as part of activities to mark World Hypertension Day 2019 under the theme Know Your Numbers. President of the Health Promotion Club of the Division of Nursing Education, Michaela Hanaway, who is also a third-year student at the college, said they felt it was timely to host the exhibition and health fair.
As we know, hypertension is a leading cause in a lot of illnesses, right? Like stroke, heart attack, etc. And people need to come out, as our team say, and know their number, because this is very important. We want to just bring awareness to the entire Montrose, Lago Heights area, and also we as students to know.
Dean of the Faculty of the Division of Nursing Education at the SVG Community College, Beverly, Liverpool, emphasized the importance of knowing the signs, risks and treatment for hypertension, especially if the testing is being done at home.
Hypertension, or what is referred to as high blood pressure. We are looking at a blood pressure reading of 120 over 80. So that is what is considered normal.
This is the first time that the Division of Nursing of the college is conducting such a health fair, and according to its director Nigel Scott, follow-up activities are in the pipeline.
The club does have plans to do additional awareness programs. They will recognize different days that are celebrated on the health calendar. They're also planning to do health promotion walks to get the community involved in walking, and they're also planning to do a number of other things in terms of regular testing so that persons can check their numbers on a more regular basis.
More than 20 police recruits from the police force took the opportunity to get tested at a mini health fair. Chief Instructor at the Police Training School, Inspector John, said recruits need to know their health status, and there is no better way of having it done free of cost to the organization.
The reason we come here is to know our number, and most of the recruits they did their blood pressure check and their pressure check, and most of the reports are successful. You know, we have an intense program, physical, so I think that is a part of it to have them real tested and they are okay.
Because for me as a young person in society, I never really know my sugar level, my pressure to see was a very important thing, right? Until they pointed out something in the session today, and I think that is a very important thing for us as young people, as future police officers.
At today's exhibition and health fair, leaflets, pamphlets and other related educational materials were distributed. Professional health counseling was also provided. The objectives of today's activities were to educate and increase awareness of high blood pressure among the Vincentian population as part of the community outreach program of the students and faculty of the Division of Nursing Education. Reporting for SVGTV News, Larissa Pugsley Kidd.
The issue of child sex abuse was the focus of an empowerment forum hosted today by the Carnival Development Corporation. The 6 contestants who will be competing for this year's Miss SVG crown were invited to make a presentation on the issue at the forum held at French's House, which was attended by a number of students from 14 secondary schools across the country. The presentation by the contestants focused on child sex abuse and mental health, the roles teachers, nurses and the police can play to curb the issue.
It is incumbent on governments to formulate and enact regulations to govern the participation of children in the fashion industry. Modeling agencies should also have strict criteria regarding the supervision of child models at shows, shoots, and rehearsals. Parents must be vigilant.
The most important measure a teacher who has knowledge that a child is being sexually abused can do is to contact the authorities. According to the Child Care and Protection Act, a teacher is liable to contact the necessary authorities if they are aware of a child being sexually abused, whether physically or sexually.
According to the Domestic Violence Act,
The core duty of a police officer is to record and promptly respond to reports of violence within households, especially in cases of intimate partner relationships and child abuse. We have a very vital and a sensitive role in dealing with child sexual abuse.
Nurses can play a very important role in the health and welfare of children who have experienced sexual abuse. All cases of suspected child abuse should be reported to the appropriate authorities. At times, children require protection from adults. Child sexual abuse is one of those times.
Anxiety disorders, which include generalized anxiety disorder, specific phobias, social anxiety disorder, panic disorders. Some of these illnesses may disappear over time, others get better with the help of family and friends, but many people need professional help to recover from psychological distress that can be intense and disabling. Some risk factors, however, that they did mention that puts you at risk of being sexually abused as a child are poor relationships with your parents. If you have an ill parent, then they may not be able to protect you as needed. If you have the absence of your biological father, and they said that females are more prone to being sexually abused in the presence of a stepfather.
Following the presentations, the students raised a number of questions to the contestants, particularly to the delegate who is a police officer, on how the law and child sex abuse can be dealt with.
And the jail time for incest for women is for 7 years, and then for men is 14. But I think in today's world, we as women are fighting for equality. And why is that? We get half the time the men do, and women get less. Because just because we are girls, that we get less time. We should serve the same time as the men, because it's bad on both sides.
I understand what you are saying, but as police officers, we are guided by the laws, and every single thing that we do go back to the books. We investigate crimes and we take the matter before the court system.
How long after the matter is reported will it be taken to court?
Tell me. How long after? As soon as you report the matter to the police, they take you to the district doctor, the medical doctor. They record the information on the medical injury forms. They carry out investigations and they take the matter to the court. When the matter has gone to the court, we have no other say in it.
Confidentiality, right? Because they have a saying that everything is confidential. So what if a nurse speak out? How would you deal with that situation?
Go out and speak about the business of the perpetrator and the victim, then she is at wrong. She can be taken to court for revealing private information, and this is an example of malpractice. So I would just like to say that I would not be the person who will be disclosing any personal details or information.
Think to what Ms. Sandy said. Our society tends to go the route of re-victimizing the victims as opposed to chastising the perpetrators, and I think this is where the issue is at. We need to make these people understand that what you're doing isn't right. As opposed to focusing your energy on the victims, we need to channel that energy on the perpetrators so that they would feel as though they're outcast in our society.
It was the view by some persons at the forum that there is need for more discussions to raise awareness and educate not only children but the general public on child abuse and other social issues. Carnival Beat is coming right up. Welcome to Carnival Beat. A calypso written by former monarch Grantley Iper Constance has created some controversy in the calypso arena here. However, the man behind the song said it means no harm. Speaking at a news conference earlier this week hosted by the Calypso Association, Constance made it clear that the lyrics of his songs Zangi di Bonaki were not meant to destroy the character of reigning Calypso monarch Zamfir Manzangi Adams, but instead a form of entertainment on reality.
It are people who have different views and ideas of what Calypso is about. But Calypso and Calypsonians, what we does as Calypsonians, we take the voice of the people who can't say it for themselves. We take that message from the people and we broadcast it. So every single thing you hear in my song is what I heard people saying. I just craft it and put it together with some music, thanks to people like Brian Alexander, who are very instrumental in putting together the music. And you know, as I say, the people is who give me the song. And people have this notion why I say Mr. Bullen, but Mr. Bullen is the person who writes for Zangi. His name is Sheldon Nugget Bullen.
Constance said he is amazed that his song is being heavily criticized, noting that there are other calypsos with worse off lyrics.
I can't see how people make an issue out of it. You know, the hypocritical part of it, right? Most of the people who are trying to criticize my song and say that I saying things, the person who won Calypso Monarch last year, the female, she said that her relationship ended when she caught her husband and another man. 2017, okay. A husband and another male in the same bed, and she killed him and she would do it again. So she's guilty as charged. You know, nobody have no problem with that. They say I am morally wrong and ethically wrong, and they're ready to sue. So I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on the sue, because I love ladies.